This is my spiritual review for the film John Wick, a movie that has a lot of actions, a lot of killings, a lot of violence. Yet, stepping back and going all the way to the first one, and now the third film, the world that is constructed actually revealed there's a theme, a plot in the story that lets us understand a lot better the character of John Wick. He struggles as a person in his humanity. And now, coming all the way to what we see in the events that are taking place in this last motion picture, we can actually understand what is his motivation, his drive. There's a line in the movie that John says that the only reason he wants to carry on living is to honor the memory of his wife. The reason why this is important is because it's showing us that within the world that John is accustomed to live, people must hold to their convictions. They must honor the institutions they serve at all costs. They are literally pay assassins, and the responsibility they carry to have the privilege to determine who gets to live or die, the privileges of existence being carried by them, is almost like they're ministers of death. So such high burden requires a great responsibility, and the way these assassins deal with that burden is they are submitting themselves to this sanctioning body that is immersing them, is purifying them, is almost like sanctifying them so they can carry their duties. If not, they will lose their humanity. They will within a denomination. You see these exchanges of agreements between the assassins. Those are like rituals or sacraments or liturgical ordinances. And you see so much respect between these killers, even when they are violently trying to get rid of each other, because for them, they respect and value the reason and the values that is driving them to carry their duties. Now, within this world now, we understand better John Wick, because when going back to the first film, he's gifted a puppy by his wife. This gift represented the shared experiences that he holds with the person he loved, and the promise of a better future, a life away from his past. And when this gift is violently killed, for John, which lives in this symbolic world, this represents a sacrifice that now he must honor. He must remember it and respect it in the most personal way he knows, which is using his devotions and skills as a pay assassin. So he's honoring with all his strength the symbolism of the life he holds with his wife. And this paints a picture now, because John is struggling to bring resolution within his soul, find peace within himself, and also how he reconciles that to the outward authority he's supposed to be accountable to, the people he's supposed to submit to. And that speaks to us because I believe we all live in this tension between the autonomy of the person and the individual and the responsibility towards the communities we serve and we belong to. And to find a place where we can find reconciliation between those two things is a struggle, is a battle. And John is struggling throughout the film to serve, to hold his duties, and yet to have peace within his conscience that he's living by the conviction of honoring his wife. And towards the end of the film, he's actually taking the burden off, and he's going to find resolution independently from the high table. So you see this interesting conflict between this independent movement or revolution represented by the Bowery King and the high table, which is like a cult following, almost like an organized sanctioning body that it ordains killings, like an organized religion. And this tension between these two is going to bring forward a new battle, a new fight that is, presumably coming in the next film. So John in this film brings more depth to his character, and we see and understand better what is his motivations. And the film actually begins to present some themes. And there's a line in the movie that sheds light into this symbolism when it says that assassins are faithful men that live by their convictions. And over again, it is said in the movie, this line, that if we don't hold values and we don't live by standards or accountability, we are as good as animals. So people will lose their humanity and they become to the lowest form of expression of life unless they hold to their agreements and they value the covenant relationships they have. And that's why you see so much respect between these assassins. So John is bringing this resolution in his heart and he's carrying out forward his duty, but now he's trying to find a new path, a new way by which he can represent the life that he holds so dear with his wife and move forward to honor it with his services, with everything he has, with everything he holds. So in this third film, I believe this is a parable, almost like a metaphor for life, because we are all, in a sense, as those paid assassins. What is the values that is driving us? Because we are continually, if you meditate with me for a second, eliminating people in and out of our lives. We're not allowing people the privilege of existing within our emotions and our heart. And we are eliminating them. And who is sanctioning our killings? To which authority are we accountable? In which way we are honoring the our standard we're supposed to uphold? And what are the moral insights? What is the convictions that we're trying to represent? And this inside struggle that we have represents that we are like paid assassins, because often what is driving us is self-gratification. We're seeking for social, emotional, or cultural compensation, and therefore we eliminate relationships, agreements, people, emotions, and people we hold dear. We eliminate them out of our lives. And the question is, are we losing our sensitivities? Are we becoming, like the movie says, as animals? If we're not purified and if we're not holding to something greater than ourselves, then those actions are gonna carry consequences. And those consequences in the film are shown in violent, gruesome ways, but it's actually to drive a point to our hearts that we are living in this symbolic world where things matter and we cannot just carry on forward without doing anything. For John, honoring his wife. For Sophia, the character in the third movie that is helping John, it was protecting his daughter's life. For the Bowery King, it was literally holding his status of independence and the people that he was trying to serve. For the High Table, we presume their values or what is driving them is to keep the unity and the organization of their institution. For Winston, which is the one that is controlling the Continental, he was only trying to keep his status. But everybody's being driven by something. Everybody must hold to some values. Everybody must reconcile those inner convictions with those outward standards. And this debate or this battle is seen all the way to the end, because when John actually takes off the burden of serving the High Table, he makes an alliance with the Bowery King. And this organization that is represented through this alliance is the lowly, the outcasts, the people that are not valued or respected, the people that are not valued as high class. They are those forsaken, those that are mistreated. And John actually decides he's gonna find healing and he's gonna bring internal resolution, aligning himself with this Bowery King that represents this group of outcasts. And why is that important? Because the Bowery is like an independent group. So you almost see like this battle between institutionalized, organized, sanctioning body of cult following or religion versus this independent, this organic movement of people that are aligning themselves with their hearts together to try to find revolution. And for John Wick, this is the path that he has chosen to bring internal healing to his soul. So what do you think? Do you see in the films John Wick a parable, a symbolism, or a metaphor for life? Or do you see just entertainment? Which one of the films do you believe has more meaning, more insights into the character of John Wick? And do you have a favorite one? Let me know in the comments below, and we will continue to pursue and seek movie insights in spiritual reviews.